your host. On this show, we talk about drugs, alcohol, and any addiction that you may be suffering or going through. And today we have a very special guest with us. She is not in recovery, but she is in recovery, but she's not a recovering alcoholic and addict. And she's going to share how she got into the field. She is a certified alcohol and drug counselor, and she's going to be sharing with us some of the holistic approaches in recovery. So you want to share your name and how you got, a little bit about you and how you got started?
I will. Thank you, Pam. It is an honor to be here. I am so pleased that you asked me to be here. My name is Erin Reynolds, and I am a certified alcohol and drug counselor. I'm currently changing that thought to life coach and consultant. I came into the field because, well, I was raised in an alcoholic home. My mother was an alcoholic. She was the child of an alcoholic. All of her family, other than her mother, were alcoholics. And her dad actually committed suicide when she was 21 years old. He drank a bottle of cyanide. And her entire life, she truly believed that he grabbed the wrong bottle. And it was kind of a division in the family about whether or not he had actually intentionally committed suicide or was an accident. And she struggled with that. She struggled with that pain. And the days that she was sober, she was my best friend. And the days that she was drunk were days from hell. And she was very, very, very verbally abusive. She was never physically abusive, but she would tell me that if abortions had been safe and legal, she would have aborted me. And as I've become an adult and gone through my own issues, I realized that I think what she was saying actually was that I would have been protected from the pain. That she didn't want me to go through what I went through in my life. And she loved me. She loved me more than anything. She died in 1988 from liver and kidney cancer, which I believe was in part because of her alcoholism, in part because she was exposed to radiation. But she was 9 months sober when she died, and was able to ask for forgiveness, and I was able to give it, and it was beautiful. Yeah. I married 2 different alcoholic men. I've been married twice, and the father of my 2 beautiful daughters is sober today, and I don't know that he's actually working a recovery program. We haven't talked in several years. He quit drinking when our youngest went running downstairs to his beer refrigerator, and she was 3 years old, grabbed a can of beer and met him at the top of the stairs and said, "Here, Daddy." And that's when he quit drinking, and it was a huge awakening for me that I had exposed my children to what I never wanted to expose them to. And then when my second husband, that's how I got into the field, he was told that he had to go to inpatient residential treatment by his employer, and I went for family week, and it was an interesting time. And the counselor that he had challenged me and was very, in my mind at the time, rude, and did not know me, and was going judging me based on what she had been told about me, and I didn't like it. And I was attending school, going to college at the time, and I thought, I'm going to show her. So I immediately stopped what I was doing and decided to get my CDC with the full intent of going back and telling her a year later what I thought of her.
Do you remember what she was sharing with you?
She said that I needed to get out of my marriage, that he was abusive, that he was never going to get better. And in group, she told him he was never going to get better, which was very sad. And that I needed to get out of that abusive relationship.
Sound very professional or ethical.
It wasn't. It wasn't. But the joke was on me, because 9 years later, here I am, a drug and alcohol counselor, and I never went back and told her what I thought of her. And now I think a lot of what she said that day was true. He was abusive, verbally and physically, but by the grace of God, he now has 5 years of sobriety. So, and he's working a very good program. He's a wonderful, fantastic man, and I love him dearly, and we're good friends. So.
Well, that would have been hard to hear, though, because you were hearing a message of there's no hope for anyone.
Yeah.
So that's not very.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I am one of those people, thankfully, that the the tide is turning, I believe, that we're learning more about addiction and learning more about that it is not just a disease of the mind, that it is a disease of the body and of spirit. And I kind of always instinctively knew that. I always knew with my mother that if I could figure out really where the pain came from, where that hole was, that she wouldn't drink. And it wasn't just the pain of her dad dying. I think the hole came before that, and somehow I instinctively knew that. And we're learning more and more and more, especially with the men coming home and the women coming home from war, that trauma is huge in addiction. And when people are exposed to trauma and that brain altering that happens, that we need to address that. So what I do now with my clients, and why I was so frustrated in traditional treatment, we're limited. We can't talk to our clients about nutrition and exercise and taking care of themselves in their physical health. We can't talk to them about hormones and getting a hormone check. And we know that so much of what's going on in the brain is hormone related. We know about serotonin and dopamine, but we don't tell them about how they can do that, how they can increase the serotonin and the dopamine and take care of themselves. We're not allowed to as certified alcohol and drug counselors because we don't have a master's, we don't have a doctorate. And that's frustrating, that something as simple as saying, did you eat breakfast today? When's the last time that you actually had meals that fit every food group? And that's frustrating. So as a life coach, I can talk to them about what are they doing nutritionally, what are they doing physically, what are they doing for their mind and for their spirit. And that's where AA is so wonderful, and I love it, and I love Al-Anon. I thank God for Al-Anon. And being able to talk to them and find their healing that way.
Some thoughts have been coming to me lately. I've always been curious why, alcohol is the symptom.
Mm-hmm.
So there had to have been some mental health and other issues going on because of alcohol or drugs or gambling or sex is the symptom.
Mm-hmm.
Why have we made it the disease?
Right. And disease is dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
It's having that unbalance. And for me, for my business with Piece of Gold, it's about finding the balance in mind, body, and spirit. It's not just mind. It's not just spirit. It's all three. And Dr. Bob and Bill W. talked about that. And in the 12 steps and in the big book, and so many people forget that. They think it's just about the fellowship. And they think it's just about the surrender, and it's not. It is so much more. They talked about in the big book about taking care of themselves nutritionally and physically and how important that was. And we need to start that dialogue. We really need to start helping people. Pharmaceuticals are not okay. And as a drug and alcohol counselor, and you go to AA meetings and NA meetings, and I always get so frustrated when I see that mass exodus of people that they can't wait to get a cigarette as soon as the meeting's over, or they're all having cigarettes just before the meeting, including drug and alcohol counselors.
Mm-hmm.
They get out of a group or they get out of a one-on-one, and the first thing that they do is go have a cigarette.
Oh, I'm so grateful for cigarettes. It's saved my life for so long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I'm not smoking now.
But cigarettes, what truly nicotine is every bit as addicting as heroin.
So a symptom again.
It's a symptom again because they haven't dealt with that underlying cause. So you've seen, I've seen people who give up alcohol and drugs and say that they're in recovery, and in reality they're not. Because they're supplementing with sex, or bad relationships in my case, or cigarettes, or food. I'm definitely a food addict, absolutely. I've had to, I can't eat cheeseburgers, I can't eat cheesecake, because if I eat one, I'll eat 10. And there have been days in my life when the pain was so great that I ate 10 cheesecakes. That I would go and I would order 3 double bacon cheeseburgers and 3 large orders of fries and 3 Pepsis, and drink them, eat it all, and then purge it as soon as I got home. So in that way I am in recovery, but I don't do that today.
Right.
I have to take care of myself in mind, body, and spirit. And if I don't take care of myself in mind, body, and spirit, I can't take care of others.
So you're suggesting that they incorporate more of an educational, holistic approach in the treatment itself?
Yes.
Where they're going to educational classes?
Yes.
I think there's a center coming out, it's a recovery center, and they want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that center?
I've heard a little bit about it, yes.
Yeah, you may want to look into that, because I'm sure they would love to learn about what you're doing. Do you want to share a little bit about your oils? And
My oils, I firmly believe in the power of the essential oils. I've used oils all of my life. My mother was an RN, but she never liked taking us to the doctor. She didn't like pharmaceuticals at all, and even when she got cancer, did not like the idea of going through chemo, so she went through one round of chemo and then didn't do it again. And the beauty of the oils is that they're natural. They're thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. There are so many references to them in ancient literature. And pharmaceuticals, we know, are bad. And again, people are getting addicted to the pharmaceuticals. They think that they need the drugs to get over the opiate addiction or the alcohol addiction or whatever addiction. They give me a pill and I'm going to feel better. I disagree. I think heal yourself in other ways. And the power of the oils is that you can take them internally or you can use them topically, aromatically, and they will calm and they will soothe and they will give that hormone boost in addition to the food and the exercise.
what does it do? Trigger something in the brain when you smelling it?
Yes.
Aromatherapy.
Yeah, aromatherapy, we've known for a long time that aromatherapy works, that there is absolutely a brain reaction when we smell certain smells and that certain things will actually calm. Frankincense is absolutely a miracle oil, and there is a reason that it was given to the Christ child, because it heals so many things, and we have so much wonderful literature about frankincense and how using it with opiate addiction. And it's I love the science of that. It is absolutely wonderful for opiate addiction, and we know that frankincense and lavender is being used and studied for PTSD. And there's an actual wonderful science-based website that you can go to. It's called aromascience.com, and you can actually search anything on that page dealing with different mental health issues or physical issues and see the actual science behind essential oils, which I think is a wonderful thing today that's accessible to everybody.
So is this what you're going to be going into and doing this and offering this with
I am,
clients?
yes, I do offer it to the clients now. I could not, as a certified alcohol and drug counselor in traditional treatment. We're not allowed to do that. One of our ethics is that we can't sell to clients.
Oh, that's correct.
So, you know, I don't know, I haven't sold any oils. I tell the clients now about the oils, and when they're in session, if they're stressed, then you know, we'll talk about where that stress and anxiety is coming from, and I'll ask them if I can apply an oil and have really wonderful results from that. You'll see the anxiety level come down fairly quickly.
Would that be useful when you're having a panic attack?
Absolutely.
Really? What would they do? What's some of the technique that you would do?
Well, with balance, this is the grounding blend. This is the blend that is my go-to blend. And what it does is when you smell it, immediately if you open the bottle and smell it.
I'm having a panic attack.
Okay, you're having a panic attack.
Die.
Somebody say, Pam, go ahead and have you know, breathe that in. And then take and drop a couple of drops on your pulse points. And then your pulse points behind your neck.
Behind my neck?
Yep, behind your neck. Right at the base of the skull, and that's going to go right in. And you'll find that because when it goes through the skin is the largest organ in the body. And then it immediately goes and starts going to every cell in your body within a few minutes. And as you breathe and as you focus and listen to my voice and take that in, you're going to feel yourself relax.
I'm relaxing. Now, don't let me relax too much.
Yeah, you have a show to do.
I like this.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I do feel it. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, and depending on, there's hundreds of oils, and I usually have my box of oils right there when I'm doing with the client.
Some too.
Brian, would you like some?
This is Brian. He overdosed on LSD.
Did he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're very, very powerful. Really powerful.
Helps you ground and
it does.
breathe.
It will help you ground and it will help you breathe. And depending on what the undernotes are, depends on which center of the brain it's going to help with.
This is wonderful.
What
other emotions would it have? What about anger? When somebody's raging?
Ooh, I like lavender for that.
Lavender?
Lavender, we have a blend actually called Serenity, which is kind of appropriate for addiction.
I know.
Yeah.
And they need it when they're mad.
They do. They do. And anger really is about preventing and being grateful and what's causing the anger. I think what I find, traditional anger management groups are fine, but they don't really deal with, they deal with when you realize that the anger is starting to escalate. What I like to do with remembering how to treat yourself and others, if you're staying focused in that, if you're staying focused in the golden rule and saying, this is how I would want to be spoken to, this is how I would want to be reacting right now, that anger doesn't happen. I used to rage. There was definitely a time in my life where I was a very angry person. I was in pain. And when people are in pain, they rage.
Right.
And when they learn that it's okay, they give themselves permission to not be angry, to cope with, say, I can be mad at this person, but I don't need to rage at this person. And where is this coming from? What am I feeling inside? And what do I need to love inside so that I'm not acting out in this anger?
Yeah, and see, we weren't taught that growing up. How many of us couldn't even show an emotion?
Right. And that's the problem with so many addicts and alcoholics. Emotions are not okay.
No.
Not okay. And that's what I love about this book. This book is actually available on aromatools.com, and it's called Emotions. And it's just page after page after page of the different emotions and the oils and the oil blends that you can use to cope with those emotions. Ginger is the oil of empowerment. And when you put it on, I put it on first thing in the morning, and I am ready to face the day and feel strong.
Yeah, when you're going to go into your boss and ask for a raise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, exactly. That's just they're magical. Absolutely magical.
I can't wait to try this.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I got a few people that get angry a lot. Or do we throw it at them? And
Sprinkle, sprinkle. No.
So what are you doing now? Are you working for anyone? Or what is a little bit about your work history?
I'm working part-time. I'm not really sure how that's going to go right now. Ideally, I would love to have Piece of Gold take off and be a wonderful business.
So that's your vision?
It is. Piece of Gold. I'd like to have a Piece of Gold Foundation. If, God willing, I win $380 million tonight in the lottery, then I will be employing a whole lot of people.
Well, I'm sure something like this is going to be fantastic, and it's so needed in the community.
I think so.
Would you mind talking to our viewers and telling them a little bit how to get a hold of you?
Sure.
If they have some interest, your name and...
Again, my name is Erin Reynolds, and my phone number is 730-what is my number? 8104? 739-8104. Sorry about that. And I never call myself, so I don't know my number. And I am available. Right now I do one-on-ones, and wherever people feel comfortable with meeting and talking, coffee shops, the park, that's probably the best, because then they're comfortable and feel safe. And I want people to feel safe.
Yeah. Oh, this is wonderful.
Thanks,
Anything else you'd like to share with us before we have, maybe 1 minute left? Okay.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all that you do, for this wonderful television show. You blessed so many people. And a couple of years ago when I first saw you, I thought, I need to know this woman because she has a gift and she's changing lives. And I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, I love you. Give me a hug. Thank you. Well, you are too. come back. We're gonna do part 2. And you know, I don't care what your bottom's been like and how far down you've gone, you can come back up. And we're here to support you and help you in any way we can. I mean, excuse me, you got me emotional. Any way we can. So hang in there, because your miracle's on its way.
Amen.
Oh, she got me. I was